NEWS.MC on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
My name is Nicholas Frankl. I'm the chairman CEO of my Yacht group. I grew up in the UK, but I was always traveling with my father, who was already in Formula One for all of his life. So I was very fortunate to run around on his coattails, going to Grand Prix, even at the age of 7, 8, 9 in Zandvoort and Brands Hatch and Silverstone. He's 87 and he's still an automotive writer, and he's published every month, writing for Forza magazine in the United States, which I also contribute to. He also writes for the Auto Channel, and he's been writing his whole life. He's been very instrumental in helping me along in my career, in my social life, and of course with the passion of Formula One, and responsible for bringing me to Monaco in the first place. And my first job was actually commentating for BBC Radio on Formula One, and I used to dial in from the tracks. It cost me more to dial in than I got paid. I think I got paid £10 per segment, which was still a nice amount of money, but not a lot of money when you had to go to the race and report from the race. I then was hired by Asprey, which was the Queen's jeweler, and who at the time in 1995, was just after the Olympics, 95, 96, they started a sponsorship of the Ferrari Formula One team. I ran their VIP program, and they had a very, very, very specific and very esteemed program. The likes that Formula One had not really experienced. They were not a commercial sponsor with Telecom Italia Mobili or a UPS or a Shell, or with sort of middle management people. Only lords, ladies, princes, princesses, dukes, royalty, billionaires, pop stars, all of their top clients came. So I established quickly that within Formula One, it was quite difficult to manage these people. And that's when I first started the idea of hosting a super yacht soiree with a very small group of people, which was highly curated. When the sponsorship finished with Asprey, a lot of the guests were calling me saying, can you help us come back to the Monaco Grand Prix? You seem to know everybody, and we'd like to go back with my wife, and blah, 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 and we'd like a hotel, Hermitage or the Hotel de Paris. And I said, yes, of course, I'd love to help you. And it ended up being a job. And my father said to me, what on earth are you doing for all these people? You have 3 telephones running at the same time just to help people. And I thought I must find a way to manage this. And that's when I started creating a super yacht venue whereby these types of very special people would be around like-minded guests, which for them was important, with people who they had synergy with. And from that very small beginning of one evening event, we have grown that into a global events company with a community and an environment which is very special, highly protected, and the people in the community and the ecosystem that we've built. And this spreads from Hong Kong to Dubai, Cannes, Monte Carlo, of course, Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, San Francisco, even Austin, Texas, where we've created events. So we created these events around the world, predominantly on super yachts, because that is the most exclusive environment that you can be on. And then the magic source are the people. It's not the size of the yacht or the quality of the champagne or the caviar. It's all generally the same. But the quality of the people is what the guests expect, and what they respect the other guests, and they respect the environment that they are in. It's a special environment. And out of that community, of course, have come many other interesting spin-offs. Now we're invested in space companies. We've taken 4 missions to the space station through a company called Axiom Space. We helped launch them here. In fact, we did launch them here in Monaco 6 years ago now. We helped raise a lot of money for them. They introduced them to a lot of people. And we've taken 4 missions to the space station. And now I invest in certain advisory boards of space companies and technology companies. All of these companies and venture capitalists, entrepreneurs want to be in our environment, in this community of what we refer to as interesting people. And my business card says connecting the world's most interesting people. And I always say that if you're in the room, congratulations, because you must be interesting. Otherwise I wouldn't have invited you. We do cater to the high net worth and ultra high net worth community. We have a signature program at the Monaco Grand Prix. We adore the Monaco Grand Prix, and we adore Monaco. I mean, my family here, I live here. I'm very proud to be a member of this community, and I think it's the greatest community genuinely to be a member of. It's a great privilege. It's a way to give back also. We always host a charity element to our events. We've worked for many years with the Prince Albert II Foundation. We've promoted Monaco through Monaco Private Label for many years, over a decade. We have a lot of American guests who come every year, and many of them have become very good friends of ours. And some have now actually bought residences. A couple of them now bought residences in the Maritaire, so they can just come here for the summertime. Of course, then they get interested in yachting, so we introduce them to our yacht broker community so they can learn more, and in many cases they've purchased yachts. I think over the years we've probably consummated at least a few €100 million of yacht and aircraft sales, and that's not our business, but just through introductions. We have a very bespoke group of partners, and also my community of invested companies. So, my space, we'll bring one of our astronauts to talk about space, even the opportunity to fly to space, which we've been doing now successfully for 5 years. It's unique content, and the brand partners that we work with are very select, they're very quiet. They want to bring their own clients and engage them in a safe environment. And of course, they want to develop new relationships, qualified individuals, which we can guarantee because we know who we're dealing with and who we're personally inviting. We have a team here that we use when we're doing our events here for the Grand Prix. Then we obviously have also staff in the United States, because half of our events are in the United States. And then we deploy locally depending upon where we are. For us, it's about the invitations and the connection. When we do events in Hong Kong, we call our friends in Hong Kong. And the local people say, well, how do you know these people in Hong Kong? You don't live in Hong Kong. So how do you know the biggest families in Hong Kong? Because we don't even know them. So, well, they're all in St. Bart's with us on the yacht. Or they came to the Monaco Grand Prix. Oh, okay, wow. Okay, so you have this global network, this global community. So it's quite unique, it's quite bespoke. We're very proud to create these environments for these guests and for the brand partners. So it's really a global community that we're putting together. I've always been an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur. He started something called Car Magazine in the United Kingdom, and a publishing group, and truck racing in Europe, and many other amazing things. So I caught it from him. I started testing cars. I started writing about cars. I started working then for Sky Television. And at the same time, I was in Barcelona, and I'd been watching the bobsled team at the Olympics, and my father was commentating on the bobsled. So I started watching the bobsled on television during the Olympics, and we had the British team, and of course we had His Serene Highness Prince Albert of Monaco competing for Monaco, and we had the Jamaican team, very famously, where they made a movie about them. So my father and I got talking after the '92 Olympics, and we said, well, if Austria are the champions, how comes Hungary doesn't even have a team? And Hungary had never competed in bobsled. And they're a very strong summer nation, but they're not a particularly strong winter nation. And they don't have any skiing and any great mountain facilities. So we took it upon ourselves to start the first Hungarian bobsled team. And the aim was to get to the Olympics, which was only 2 years later in Lillehammer, Norway. I went to bobsled school, which was in Innsbruck. And I was the only driver not to crash in the first week. And it's quite easy to crash a bobsled, but I didn't crash. And I thought the sport was very exciting. And I thought, okay, let's go for it. Let's see if we can make it and compete, in America's Cup competitions, World Cup competitions, European championships. So our first race was in Cortina d'Ampezzo, where they'll have the Olympics again next year. That was in January '93. We were in Lillehammer of '93 for a preliminary race. Very, very generously, His Serene Highness welcomed us. A lot of the teams were not very friendly, but I can tell you that the Monaco team was extremely friendly and very, very helpful. We were very ill-equipped. We didn't have the right wrenches and spanners for the runners, and the bobsled was in the wrong place. And we were just a very little team, 3 people. So he was very kind and very welcoming, and he helped us, and his mechanics helped us put our team together. And we did qualify for the Olympics. We were racing in Calgary, and we actually finished 28 out of 45 in our first Olympics, beating a lot of very well-established teams, and that was a big goal. So that was for 10 years. I competed in bobsled as an amateur Olympian, and I did 3 Olympic Games in '94, and then in 4-man. That was in 2-man, and then in '94 in Nagano, Japan, and the final Olympics was 2002. First time I was here was in the early 90s for the Grand Prix, and then we came also for after the Barcelona Olympics. And then I started coming here every year since then. This year I think is my 36th or 37th consecutive Monaco Grand Prix, and I think it's my father's 58th consecutive Monaco Grand Prix. People often ask me, why do I live in Monaco? And I explain to them there's many great benefits, and health and safety, and certainly the security of my children and the residents is paramount, particularly when we see what's going on around us. One of the great advantages of living here is that, as I explain to people, everybody who's interesting comes to Monaco at least once a year. there is an event or a function or a conference, not just in sport, but in business as well, every single week. And unlike New York or London or Los Angeles or Tokyo, which is a massive sprawling 20, 30 million person environment, you actually get to engage with these events. There's a very close proximity to the event. They're at the Grimaldi Forum, they're in the port, the Classic was just here, then you have the insurance conference, and of course we have the yachting show, we have the Formula One, then you have the horse jumping, and you have the tennis. I mean, I walk out of my apartment, I walk 150 yards, and I'm sitting on the center court watching Alcaraz, and another, incredible player, and they're living in my building, and I walk back and they're in the elevator, and it was a good match today. So I mean, where else can you get to do that? That's very special, very, very special. And the Prince has done an extraordinary job revolutionizing Monaco. I remember when he took the throne, we were speaking, and I remember mentioning to him, wow, you have such an incredible legacy to build upon with your father. And he said, watch this. And I think what he's doing is incredible, and the quality of the people is very high. If you look at the other destinations where people are living, and I've spent time in them, the quality of the people is not very high. The quality of people and the level of civility in Monaco is very high. The interpersonal civility is very high, and it's noted. There is a courtesy on the street that you don't get in many other places now. The other thing is that if you look at the schools, we had, I think, maybe 100 children at the international school 20 years ago, 150. Now they have 900 in the third new international school, and I think there are 5,000 children going to. So this is not a sleepy little town with retired people with little white dogs. Maybe it was a little bit like that 30 years ago. And now this is a very dynamic, young, bustling place with a lot of young entrepreneurs who've made some success. They've moved to Monaco. There's a lot of action around. People want to look at investments, look at opportunities. It's very easy to stay busy in Monaco. You don't have to be flying around and chasing conferences around. There's a lot of interesting energy happening in Monaco. And I salute the Monaco Economic Board and the government and everything that they're doing, because I think genuinely, having been here for most of my life, it's working. I have the luxury every day of looking out of my balcony, looking over the Monte Carlo Country Club, the tennis club, and the Villa Vergy. Beyond is Cap Martin, and beyond that is Italy. How often can you see 3 countries in one view? And rush hour, even when I have to go and pick up the children and come back, it's a 10-minute journey. Maybe if it's a bad day, it's 12 minutes. And you're going to run into interesting people. I mean, just sit down in Cove Cafe and see who walks past. There's a lot of really interesting people walking around in Monaco. Everybody's here. In terms of my yacht group, we're not trying to be the world's largest entertainment group. We're just focused on delivering every event. You're only as good as your last event. Our objective is for people to have great experiences, and nothing makes me happier when I have friends of mine calling from other friends' super yachts on another friend's island who all met at one of my dinners or one of our yacht receptions, or the babies that have been produced legitimately, or the weddings that have resulted as my introductions, because I'm the connector. It's my evening with my sister, my twin sister Annabelle. We're connecting our friends together in our community. So it's very much like going to someone's home. It's not a random discombobulated group of Facebook invites and this company and that broker and this blah, blah, blah. It's just Nicholas and Annabelle. So when you're at the bar, you can stand next to anyone you like and say, how do you know Nicholas and Annabelle? Oh, we were in St. Bart's together. Oh, we're in Hong Kong together. Oh, we're in Los Angeles together. Oh, we went to the Grand Prix. So you never know where these things are going to lead. At some point, I'm sure some company will come along and say, hey, listen, we would love you to participate in our bigger group, and can we buy you? And maybe one day I will, or maybe I'll just continue what I'm doing because I live my lifestyle and I love what I do and I love the people being around me, and I can't wait to host a dinner or a yacht reception and connect people.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching News.MC, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover more interviews and stories on our websites, News.MC and MonacoInfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.